What? No! You can't leave me, like, hanging like that for, like, 6 months. Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and this is my review for the season finale of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 2, episodes 21 and 22, because this was a 2-hour episode, so I'm counting it as 2 separate episodes. SOS. Now, this episode was fucking amazing, I have to say. This was the perfect finale. I was definitely looking forward to this finale. I was hoping it would be as satisfying as it seemed like it was going to be. And it really was the perfect finale. I think everything on this finale was amazing. Everything I really loved what happened in this finale. I really had no complaints with this finale. Everything was just perfect, honestly. Everything was perfect, but that cliffhanger, oh my god, I don't know what's going to happen next season, honestly. There's a lot to talk about there. But let's get into the episode because it's going to be a very long review. I mean, it's a 2-part episode. I'm going to talk about everything that happened, and it's going to be a very long review. So, let's just get into it. So, I love the way the episode started, because, of course, we know that Jiang is faked that S.H.I.E.L.D. attacked her. They didn't really attack her. And she's telling Daisy and the others that Robert vowed to exterminate the Inhumans and then shot her, and says that Gordon will take care of him, and Lincoln gets the others to safety. And Jemma offers to inspect Jiang's wound because, she thinks that maybe she can figure out what's going on there. And Jiang refuses, and Daisy advises her to go, and Gordon goes to get Robert's body. Now, the thing I love about this beginning of these episodes is that everyone is panicking at this point. They're trying to figure out, would, Robert really do this? I mean, I like what Melinda says. That really does not make sense why Robert would do something like this. It really doesn't make sense at all. And, basically, she admits she doesn't know where, what exactly Robert wanted, and Coulson doesn't believe that Robert set off a war and tells them to get Robert and get out. He knows there's something else going on. He knows that Robert would not do this, because he wouldn't. Of course, Robert wanted them to work together. It was Jiang that turned on him. That's why she did what she did. And again, I kind of do sympathize with her for what happened, but at the same time, like, that, she just went way too far with doing what she did. So, Melinda orders the team to prepare for evacuation and leaves, and Gordon teleports in with a super strong Inhuman, Kebo, and take out the remaining S.H.I.E.L.D. agents and destroy the teleport detection device. And Gordon then teleports away with the tech while Kebo flies the Quinjet away. So Daisy and Lincoln take Jiang to the doctor, and Kebo opens fire on Jiang's office, and Jiang asks Daisy why she let S.H.I.E.L.D. attack them. And Daisy insists that she's on her side. And Daisy, honestly, is in probably the hardest position of anyone in this episode, because Daisy, of course, is she going to go with S.H.I.E.L.D. or is she going to go with the Inhumans? I mean, really, she has to pick a side here, and I felt really bad for her. I mean, I thought she was going to come up with some plan here, and a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent arrives and wounds one of the Inhumans. You now see that it's total war now. Like, they are totally against each other at this point, and it's basically what Jiang wanted. Jiang wanted them to be against each other, and her plan worked. So, basically, she tells Daisy to, Melinda tells Daisy to stand down, and I like that she told her, and Daisy's like, what, do you want me to stand down? Because she legitimately thinks that, Robert did what he did. Now, may I add that she doesn't really know Robert very well, so unlike Coulson, she doesn't know if Robert really would do what he did. She pretty much thinks that he did do it. Of course, Coulson does know him very well. There's Coulson that does know him very well. Daisy really doesn't. I have to say that. And that's something I thought was very good, because it's true. I mean, it doesn't seem unbelievable that Daisy thinks that Robert wouldn't do this, because I don't think she's trying to go along with him on their side. I think she just doesn't really know Robert very well, and because of not knowing Robert very well, she doesn't know if he did or didn't do it. And I think she's just really confused at this point. I really think that's what's going on. So, basically, Melinda insists on finding Robert, maybe reasoning with him, and Daisy attacks her. Melinda blocks her first few punches. Daisy lands a blow. Melinda goes at her full speed. She knocks Daisy down, but Daisy blasts her unconscious, and that I thought was awesome. I'm like, oh my god, this episode's already awesome. So aboard the helicarrier, Mack talks to Agent Oliver, and I was wondering what's going to happen with Mack, because obviously Mack was telling Coulson last week that no matter what, he's leaving S.H.I.E.L.D. So I was wondering if that was really going to happen. And he talks about how he's going to take off some time at the beach with his brother. The alarms go off, and a passing agent tells Mack and Oliver that Robert is dead. And Melinda wakes up aboard a Quinjet, and so they're the first people that know what really happened. They don't know how he died, they just know that he's dead. So Melinda wakes up aboard a Quinnijet, and as Jemma reports to Coulson what happened, she tells Melinda that they focused on getting the personal aboard, and Weaver insists that Robert didn't attack, and explains that Robert had basically had her get a peace offering, and Coulson agrees with Weaver, but refuses to start a war until he understands the situation, because he really doesn't understand fully what's going on yet, so I like that he doesn't really know, and he suggests that they question the captive Cal about why Jiang accused Robert of shooting her. By the way, what they do with Cal in this episode is probably my favorite part of the episode, I have to say. What they do with Cal, I thought was amazing. So, at Afterlife, the doctors are treating Jiang's wound, and Daisy offers to donate blood, but Lincoln blames Daisy for convincing to meet with S.H.I.E.L.D. He feels like she's the cause of this, which I can kind of understand, and Jiang says that S.H.I.E.L.D. has done it before, and she had hoped they had changed, and she tells Lincoln that Daisy is just as taken in as the rest of them, and when Daisy insists that Coulson is innocent, Jiang asks them all to leave so she can heal, and she basically is just gonna convince Daisy that S.H.I.E.L.D's not innocent, and Fitz tracks Bobby's Quinnijet while Lance tries to call his ex-wife without success, and the GPS, and of course they don't know that Bobby's been taken by Grant and Kara, so the GPS on the Quinnijet has been disabled, and Fitz checks the footage from when Bobby left. So Daisy confronts Raina, who admits that she knew what would happen, and I like that Daisy talks to Raina about this, because honestly, yeah, this is kind of Raina's fault. Raina could have done something to prevent this. She didn't prevent it, though. That's the thing. She didn't try to prevent it, and Daisy's really pissed at her about it. So Raina says that Daisy would never believe what she would tell her about the future, and says that their paths have never been intertwined before they ever met, and they both have searched for their destiny. And Raina finally had a vision that revealed the truth to her, and Daisy demands answers, and Raina says that the thorn protects the Daisy, and her purpose is to help Daisy because what she's supposed to be, and Daisy starts to go, but Raina says that they won't talk again. She warns that Jiang's misleading the Inhumans, but it's Daisy's destiny to lead them. Which is kind of true. I mean, that's really what's going on. So I like that she's telling Daisy don't trust Jiang because, yes, she shouldn't trust Jiang. Of course, Daisy doesn't really trust Raina right now, so she's not really going to listen to what she tells her. But I like what she says, that Daisy really is meant to lead the Inhumans. That's really what she's meant to do because she actually can help them. She's not, batshit like her mother. She can actually help them out really well. So Gordon takes the captive S.H.I.E.L.D. scientist to Jiang and says that he's evacuated those that need protection, and the others are willing to fight, and Gordon says that everyone's willing to fight because of Jiang claiming that Robert attacked her. And Jiang says she believes that Daisy will do the right thing. She then grabs the tech by the head, drains his life force to heal herself, and Melinda and Jemma, so I thought that was crazy what we saw right there. So Melinda and Jemma bring Cal back to the playground. Coulson asks what he's really doing there, and I loved this scene. Now, Cal, of course, is pretending to be crazy. He's not crazy at this point. He's sticking to his story because this is him and Jiang's plan. And Jiang told him to do this, if you remember. So Jemma shows Coulson the empty vials they found on Cal and goes to the lab to analyze them. And of course, Cal wants them to think that he's going to surrender. Obviously, this is not really what his personal vendetta is. But of course, Jiang told him to do this, and he's not going to do anything that, he's not going to listen to Jiang. He's obviously going to listen to her. So Fiston brings up the footage of Bobby with Melinda, and I like that they looked at this, because they had to eventually find out that, that wasn't really Melinda, because they realized that Kara impersonated Melinda, and we then see Kara with Bobby and Grant, and basically she tells the captive Bobby that she wants her to say why she's there, and Bobby calls her a psychopath, and Kara's slapping her, and Grant tells his lover that they'll take as long as necessary to get Bobby to admit the truth, and I'm like, what do you want to admit? Like, he then tells Bobby that She told them that Bobby handed Kara over to Hydra, and Bobby will confess the truth so that Kara can have closure. But here's the thing, may I remind you, Grant, that Bobby was the only person that believed that Kara and you were in love. She was the only person that was willing to stick up for you, and now you do this to her. Like, I was just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, she is standing up for you. She's the one that's like, they're innocent. You should trust them. We should try to ally with them. Bobby was the one that did this. So you should at least try to make an effort to ally with her, because Bobby's the only one that really thinks that you two are in love, which I thought was really annoying, I have to say, that they were doing that. So basically the plan is that Bobby's going to confess the truth so that Kara can have closure, and Grant takes out a needle, prepares to torture their prisoner. It's actually really graphic stuff, I have to say. He puts this needle, like, right in her finger. There's blood coming out. It was really graphic stuff. I mean, honestly, it was kind of hard to watch. So at Afterlife, Daisy visits Jiang and is surprised to see her better, because she just is better out of nowhere. And I can understand why Daisy's not really noticing anything, but come on, Daisy, how did you not see any clues here? How did you not see anything that was wrong? So Jiang sidesteps the question and asks what's wrong. Daisy says it's one of the worst days of her life. She misses she talked to Raina but didn't believe her. And Jiang says that they have to see to the safety of their people, and now is the time to fight. And she asks Daisy to stay on her side and gives her the necklace, and asks her to return if she decides to fight with her people. And at this point, I think Daisy's just really confused as to what to do, because she's not going to go against her mother, but she's not going against S.H.I.E.L.D. either, because she's loyal to both of them, and she really is in this tough position of where she really should be. And I really did feel bad for Daisy in this episode. I have to say, probably one of my favorite parts of this episode was seeing Daisy go through this development of who should I really side with. I thought that was really well done. So basically, then we see that after reviewing the footage from the Quinjet, Coulson tells the others that Jiang orchestrated the entire thing, and I love that Coulson came up with this. They realized that, that Robert would not do any of this because it just doesn't make sense. Why would Robert say that, oh, I want to ally with, the Inhumans, and then stab Jiang? That wouldn't make any sense. So I like that he figured that Jiang came up with the whole thing because, yeah, that is what happened, and Coulson's not an idiot, so that's why he came up with that. So basically, Melinda warns the Inhumans and Daisy are now against them, and Lance and Fitz arrive and show them the footage of Bobbi leaving with Kara. And they've confirmed that Kara killed her guard and hid his body, and Lance is heading for Spain, where the Quinjet transponder went dead. So Melinda's glad to go with him as a pilot, and as now, of course, Lance is planning on leaving as well, so I like that they are all getting together for this one final mission, because may I remind you guys that this was before the whole S.H.I.E.L.D. spinoff between Bobbi and Lance was dead. This was before that. This is when there might be a potential spinoff, so they did leave this episode open for a spinoff, but we know they're coming back. They already confirmed they're coming back next season, so, I mean, really what happens in this episode, we'll have to see what happens next season, I guess. So Coulson accompanies Lance and Melinda to the Quinjet, and he figures that Grant's involved. He figures that there's a piece of evidence that they don't understand, which there is something we don't understand. I mean, why does Grant really want to do this? Melinda promises to kill Grant where they find him, and Lance agrees. And Grant tells Bobbi that he's giving her a paralytic anesthetic so she can't feel the pain. He inserts the needle under her finger, explains that once the drug wears off, all the pain will flood in at once, and if Bobbi cooperates, then they'll spare her the pain. I have to say, Grant was legitimately creepy in this episode. Like, he's like, if you we'll spare you the pain if you don't touch the needle. Like, he was so menacing, and I love it, honestly. Grant is such an awesome villain, and I've heard a lot of people say that one of the best things they've done this season is show that Grant is a villain, because I understand they were trying to get us to sympathize with him, but honestly, he is really good. Like, the actor that plays Grant, the reason I think they keep him as this villain is because he's so good at playing this villain. He's so menacing, and he's exactly what a villain needs to be for these kind of shows, and I loved it. So basically, we see that she insisted she did the right thing to spare the death of 24 agents, and tells Grand Kara that she'd make the same cell again same call again no matter what she says under torture, and it's true. Really what happened is that she trusted them. There's nothing for her to tell. Like, they think that she's hiding something, but she's not hiding anything. So at the helicarrier, Weaver and Oliver tell Coulson that they've lost the teleport tracking device, and they have to launch an attack, and Coulson refuses to launch an attack until they know more, which is probably the right thing to do. He doesn't want to start war immediately, and while Mack listens in, Weaver insisted that they can't risk S.H.I.E.L.D. to save Daisy, and Coulson notices Mack. He says he's not going to leave until the matter is settled, but doesn't believe that they should attack either, and Weaver gives Coulson 3 hours to interrogate Cal and find out exactly what's going on there. So, basically, Coulson visits Cal in his refrigerated cell and explains that the scanner on his wrist monitors his vitals, and Cal accuses him of torture. And I love this scene between Cal and Coulson, I have to say. It really made Coulson understand Cal more, and I thought this was amazing. Now, the prisoner says that Coulson would understand if he doesn't have children. Coulson reminds him that Hydra stole Daisy, and he asks how Cal killed so many people, and Cal doesn't tell him, and Coulson checks with Jemma, who says that the samples from the vitals contain a super strength potion, and she points out that Cal took 3 vitals, and it should have killed him. It didn't kill him, though, so the question is, why didn't it kill him? I don't really know. So the pain kicks in as Bobbi, and Bobbi tells Kara that Grant is molding her just like Bakshi did. And by the way, Adrian Palicki in this scene, amazing. She was awesome here. Grant insists he's helping Kara heal, but Bobbi warns that she'll always find someone else to blame. She describes how Grant has been working at her, and Kara admits she's right. Kara says that Grant has already told her everything and has remade himself, and that's why she loves him no matter what he does. And again, it's just why do you think she's hiding something? She wants you two to be together. That's really what it is. So, At Afterlife, Raina meets with Jiang and misses she didn't foresee Robert attacking her, and Jiang says that she will now be a valuable advisor, and Raina says that she dreamed of leading the Inhumans, and now she's learned that her role is to illuminate, and Daisy is the only one who can save the Inhumans. And Raina considered killing Jiang and Daisy, but now she has realized that she's an angel rather than a monster, and she warned Jiang that she's there to show the Inhumans what Jiang really is. And Jiang ends up breaking her neck just as Daisy arrives and sees it, and she kills Raina right there, and I'm just like, holy shit. Now, I can understand why, because basically Jiang says that she thought Raina would kill her, and Daisy realizes that she's lying, and that Raina wanted Daisy there so she would see the truth. That's really what she wanted all along, which honestly, Raina would have been on their side, which makes sense because Raina was with S.H.I.E.L.D. before she was with the Inhumans. So, and plus Daisy and her, I said before, I knew these two were going to get close, and she would have saved them. That's the saddest part of this, is that Raina would have saved them, but if Jiang would have just gone and broken her neck, their plan could have worked out perfectly. So, this shows right here that Daisy now does not trust Jiang, and she tells Daisy that she must leave the Inhumans when she dies, but Daisy says that the Inhumans need protection from her, and Kebo knocks Daisy out from behind. Jiang tells him to tie Daisy up, and later she'll hopefully understand what has to be done. I'm like, why are you tying your daughter up? Like, what are you doing? So Cal then asks for a glass of water. Coulson slides it through a hole in the force field. The prisoner pours it onto his face and asks for another one to drink, and then says that the Inhumans want to live in peace, and Coulson tells him that Jiang set up a war, and Daisy will get caught in the middle of it, which she really is already in the middle of it. I mean, she has to choose what side she really wants to be on. And Cal insists that neither one of them would hurt Daisy, but Coulson says that the serum is killing him, and laughing, Cal says that he took the serum of his own free will. When Daisy was taken, he experimented and made his own powers, and he never got it right, and the serum made him unstable. And smiling, Cal says that he's there to take out as many S.H.I.E.L.D. agents as possible, which I knew that this whole time Cal is just doing this because this is what Jiang wanted to say. Because obviously we know Cal is not this crazy. We know this, and I like that, you know, Coulson knows this as well. He knows that that Cal is really not this crazy. So Melinda and Lance arrive in Aranda de Douro, Spain, and find Bobbi's Quinjet, and they find sounds of a struggle, and Melinda assures Lance that if anyone can handle Grant, it's Bobbi. And Bobbi's moaning in pain as Grant comes in and says they're a lot alike. They both hide who they really are deep inside, which is why Coulson never saw them coming. And I do kind of see what he's saying. I mean, of course, the whole fake shield that Bobbi orchestrated on Coulson, how Coulson's not a good leader, I get that, but at the same time, it's like, why are you doing this? So they end up fighting, and Kara arrives. She shoots at Bobbi, but Bobbi ducks and knocks her down. Despite her best efforts, they overwhelm her, take her down. Grant breaks her leg. Bobbi said, and I thought they were going to kill Bobbi. Honestly, I thought they were going to kill Bobbi in this episode. I really did. I thought they were going to trick us and say that spinoff is dead because they kill off Bobbi, but luckily Bobbi doesn't die, which I was happy about. So Grant assures her that it's okay and takes the gun back, says that he knows what to do. And on the helicarrier, Oliver checks in with Mack, unaware that Gordon is teleported in with 2 other Inhumans. He tells his teammates that everyone else is in place, and Coulson warns Cal that Daisy will never forgive him if he hurts anyone. I love this scene. He realizes that Jiang encouraged Cal to destroy the Chinese village, and warns Cal that she's still using him to do her dirty work, which she is, and Cal insists that Jiang isn't a monster, and then collapses as his heart stops. Literally, his heart stops here. They take him to the infirmary, they try to revive him. Coulson tells Jemma and Fitz that they can't lose Daisy's father, and Jemma injects Cal with adrenaline, and Cal then falls to the floor. He's gasping, climbs back up. By the way, whoever plays Cal, oh my god, this was an amazing scene. Because Cal's trying to break through, and Fitz hands Coulson an icer, and Jemma suggests more failed solutions, but Coulson says that he still hopes to get through to Daisy's father, and Coulson and Fitz open fire with the icers as Cal breaks through. They have no effect, and Jemma and Fitz run, while Cal tells Coulson that it's time for him to die. He says that Jiang loves him, but because he always does what she asks, and Coulson runs as Cal throws a metal tank at him, and it's insane. He's just like throwing things, and he's going crazy. Obviously what Jiang wanted him to do. So, in the helicarrier, Mack hears Gordon out in the corridor, looks outside. Gordon and the others are carrying an unconscious Daisy past, and Mack goes after them. He tries to home in on Bobbi's SIM card, and Lance tells Melinda that Bobbi is all he can think of, and Melinda warns that it could be in a trap, but Lance says that he's going in. She's glad to go in as long as she can kill Grant, because obviously their mission is to kill Grant and get Bobbi back, because obviously what do they want to do? They want to kill Grant for a while. Plus Daisy would be happy if they did that, because Daisy obviously detests him, so Mack finds one of the intruders, and Aisha, who tells him to follow her to Daisy, and concentrating, she creates clones of herself, sends them off, fires at Mack, ducks back, takes cover, and basically Lincoln takes out a guard, shorts out the helicarrier, then meets up with Aisha. She tells him that her other selves are moving into position. Two of the Aishas Aishas in the conference room take out a guard, and Oliver reports to Weaver that the Inhumans have taken vital parts of the helicarrier, and Weaver tries to contact Coulson to warn him and wonders if they have anyone below still fighting, and Mack arms up with an axe, and Cal smashes the monitor screen as Weaver calls in. He sees Fitz and Jemma, who run, chases them into the hangar. Coulson rams him with a car, pinning him to a wall. Coulson gets down and tells Cal that they're going to talk, and I thought this scene was amazing here, because basically Coulson empties out the hangar, uses a hydraulic press to keep Cal in place, and he then says that they both want the same thing, to protect Daisy. And Coulson says that Cal didn't want to kill her, but Jiang was the one who convinced him. He says that deep down, Cal's a good man, full of love, which really he is. All he wanted to do all season is just connect with his daughter. That's all he's wanted. And Cal's screaming in anguish and says that he was trying to put his family back together, then calms down and says that he sewed Jiang back together after Whitehall cut her apart, and which is true, he did do that. So the elders sacrificed one of their own to let Jiang continue on, even when she didn't want them to, and after Whitehall was done with her, she had Cal kill the entire village to fuel her healing powers. He thought that he could fix Jiang by finding and protecting Daisy, but Coulson warns him that Daisy will never go along with Jiang's plan, and Jiang will end up killing her, and you're starting to see here that definitely Cal breaks free, grabs Coulson, who says that he will kill Daisy no matter what the cost. Cal grabs him, asks Coulson to let him help him, and that's how part 1 ends. So this is the end of part 1. I am going to talk about part 2 very quickly. Not quickly, but like I don't want to talk about it extensively because this video is already 21 minutes long. If I continue, this video is going to be like 50 minutes, which is not happening. So, I go pretty quick here, but I thought part 1 was a great way to start out. I was really into the episode already. I was like, this is awesome. I can't wait for part 2. But luckily, part 2 was right after, which I thought was awesome. I love that they made it 2 hours because, honestly, this episode had to be 2 hours. It was too, there was too much to have in this episode for it to be only, there was too much that was going on for it to be only 1 episode. It had to be 2 hours, and I like they did that, honestly. Just like Once Upon a Time to be 2 hours, they had a bigger story to tell, a lot more of a story to tell besides, the usual stuff that happens. So I like that they did make this episode 2 hours because, honestly, it had to be 2 hours. So basically, it simply had to be. So, let's go to part 2. Cal's trying to unpin himself from the wall, but Coulson uses a battering ram to stop it, and Coulson tells Cal they both want to protect Daisy. He infers that Cal never wanted to commit these acts of violence. Oh, I already read this. So, basically, Mack knocks out the guard outside of Daisy's cell, frees her, which was really quick, I have to say. He freed her pretty quickly, which was awesome, and he tells her the Inhumans have taken the ship and killed many agents, and basically Mack says that he needs Daisy's hacking skills to get into S.H.I.E.L.D. systems, which I thought was really cool. So, Lincoln tells Jiang that an emergency signal was sent out to Coulson's location. It can only be canceled with a code. Jiang wants the beacon expanded to draw all of S.H.I.E.L.D. in so they can be taken all out at once, and Weaver and the other agents on board refuse to go along with it, and Jiang shoves 3 agents in a chamber, shuts it, tosses a corrupted Terran crystal inside, killing them all. And honestly, when she did that, I'm like, she's gonna win. There's no way they're gonna kill her. There's literally no way. Like, the way this was going, I was just thinking that maybe she'd actually beat them. Like, they would lose, and maybe next season we'd still have Jiang on. And honestly, Jiang is a bigger threat than Hydra. I mean, these Terrigen crystals, this is dangerous stuff. I mean, you touch it, you die. It's that simple. You touch it, you turn to stone. Remember the originals this week when Dahlia and Esther turned into stone? That's basically what happens. You turn to stone, you die. You end up like Trip, basically. And I was really worried about what was going to happen to a character. I really thought a major character was going to die here. And she orders Weaver to expand the beacon, and she's forced to agree, and I love the way they did this, honestly. It made you so much more terrified, and made Jiang such a more menacing villain, which was awesome. Because before I kind of felt sympathy for her, the moment she killed Reyna, I felt no sympathy for her. I was like, you know what, I don't care what you did, you just killed Reyna, who could have helped you, and now she's dead. So, Mack and Daisy examine the situation. They have to get to the other side of the ship to shut the beacon down, and Coulson's team managed to mostly revert Cal to his normal form, which I thought was good. And Fitz updates Coulson on the situation, informing him that Lance's team has gone dark. They don't know where he is. And Lance, Melinda, and their team storm Grant's facility as he and Kara watch on screen. They didn't expect Melinda to come with Lance, so they're all kind of freaking out about it. But Grant says that he'll take care of her. He's dealt with them before. He knows how to deal with them. And here's my thing. Kara has been Agent 33 all this time. Why was she not scared of Melinda? I don't understand. Why was she scared of Melinda? Like, why did she, like, I'll just deal with Melinda because she's had that whole fight with her before? I mean, I understand she's in her normal form, but, like, why wasn't she worried? So, why was she worried about that? So, we do get this really awesome fight scene. I thought this was really well done because Grant jumps one of the other S.H.I.E.L.D. soldiers to take him down. Another agent finds and is taken out by Agent 33. And basically, Melinda uses her radio to trick Kara into heading to the building south side. Disguised with Melinda's face, Bobbi continues to struggle to disarm Grant's trap. Lance opens the door to Bobbi's room, but Bobbi leans over to take the bullet before it can hit Lance, and Grant sees Kara with Melinda's face on, leaps out, shoots her in the stomach, and basically Melinda finds Lance. Together they start carrying Bobbi away. And yeah, so he shot Kara, and I think honestly he had to. He knew that basically if he wanted to live, he had to kill Kara. He didn't want to, but he knew he had to. I think that's really what happened there. So basically, after this happens, we see what happened. Okay, so basically, in the chamber with the Kree artifact, Gordon and Lincoln debate what the Inhumans have done, and Gordon tells Lincoln that Jiang is doing what needs to be done. Which I like seeing the reactions, I have to say. That's one of my favorite parts, because I was wondering, are the Inhumans next season going to ally with, S.H.I.E.L.D? Because I thought that was going to happen. And there are definitely things that I think they're setting up for that. I think Lincoln definitely could end up allying with them, but Gordon I'm not really so sure about. So, because Gordon tells Lincoln that Jiang's doing what needs to be done, and reminds Lincoln of how far Jiang went to save him. But, Lincoln definitely is starting to feel like this is a bit shady what Jiang is doing. Of course, they don't know that Jiang killed Raina and that she's holding Daisy captive. They don't know about any of that. So he continues preaching about how dangerous S.H.I.E.L.D. is, and Mack and Daisy travel through the ship, and Daisy regrets having fallen for Jiang's act. They split up, and I thought it was a really good scene because, yes, she has fallen for her act. And Daisy heads to the beacon source, and Mack looks for a power saw in case she fails at hacking. And Fitz tells Coulson he's found a way to stop Gordon's teleportation with a new device, and Lance and Melinda bring Bobbi in. She's alive, but just barely. She's barely alive, and Jemma takes her into surgery, which was good, and Daisy enters the room to hack the signal, but Lincoln appears behind her. He's using his powers to zap her to the ground, and Daisy tries to explain the Jiang stage, the whole thing, and that there was never any S.H.I.E.L.D. assault, but Lincoln doesn't believe her. She feels that, that she's working with S.H.I.E.L.D., but Daisy points out that Jiang simply healed from her bullet wounds, and Raina's conveniently not around anymore. And she's basically like, can you put this together? Like, think about it. So Daisy asks where the crystals are, and Lincoln tells her just before Mack knocks Lincoln out with a power saw, and Mack gives the saw over to Daisy, tells her to take care of the signal, then goes to take care of the crystals himself, and Melinda watches Bobbi's surgery and calls Andrew to hear his voice. Now, this was a really good scene, because, of course, Melinda doesn't really know if she's gonna live or not, so she needs to hear his voice one more time, and he tells her to do good and get home safe, and I thought that was a really good scene, definitely something I really enjoyed seeing. I mean, just knowing the connection that they had, I thought was really good. I definitely feel like they're setting up these two, that this is where we're going next scene, that they are going to get together, and I definitely feel like it's going to happen. So, basically, after this happens, we see that, basically, Fitz is gearing up to leave. Jemma finds him. After seeing Bobbi, she brings up how they've never really talked about what Fitz said about the ocean, and Fitz feels like this probably isn't the time, but Jemma says that she'd like to talk about it when Fitz gets back, and he says there's nothing to talk about, but Jemma grabs his hand, says that maybe there is, and I like seeing this. I thought that these two, they were going to work things out. I thought that was really good. So Coulson comes to collect Fitz for the mission, and on the ship, Melinda voices her disapproval for Cal being with them on the mission, and Fitz picks up a code from the ship, and Daisy's warning them that it's a trap, and that they shouldn't trust, Jiang, and Coulson tells all their ships to fall back. But, excuse me, his team is going in to finish things, and Jiang sees the other Jets turn around. This was awesome, I have to say. This whole scene, so rewarded, so worth it. I mean, this was just awesome. So Jiang sees the other Jets turn around, sends an Inhuman to check on Daisy. She orders Gordon, break the crystals now, and Fitz gets a final message from Daisy about the crystals being lethal, and Callan says he be the one to deal with Jiang, and tells Coulson to just take care of the crystals, and Gordon goes to the room with the crystals and finds Mack waiting for him. Daisy finds Jiang, but Jiang is intent on going through their plan, and the multiplying Inhuman turns into 5 copies and blocks Daisy from following Jiang, and Gordon and Mack fight, and Gordon, knowing that he can sense Mack's contact with something Kree, and obviously Kree's not good, so Cal finds Jiang, and Jiang tells Cal to get out of the way, but Cal refuses. She tells Jiang to think about what, and I love what he says here, think about what she's doing to Daisy, because obviously she's thinking about what she's doing, and Cal says it's not too late, but Gordon sneaks up behind him, teleports him into the locked hatch, and obviously, he doesn't trust Cal right now. I definitely feel like Cal's going to Hydra. I'm pretty sure, I mean, Gordon, I feel like Gordon's definitely going to Hydra next season. So Coulson and Fitz find Mack. Fitz sets up his disruptors to counter Gordon's powers, and Coulson and Mack arm up with melee weapons to avoid ricochets from gunshots and wait for Gordon to reappear. So Daisy shows off the fighting skills she learned from Jiang as she fights the multiplying Inhumans. Melinda, meanwhile, takes out an Inhuman of her own before Lincoln finds her, and the Inhuman begins to get the better of Daisy, piling on her until Lincoln and Melinda both show up to help Daisy, and Lincoln frees Daisy's power blockers, and Melinda offers to go after Jiang, but Daisy insists she be the one, promising she won't hesitate. This right here is showing me that I think Lincoln's going to join their team. I really do. I mean, just think about what he's doing. He's helping them out. Definitely, I think he's going to join their team, and especially since we know that this storyline is coming to an end, I definitely feel like he's going to join. So, Jiang is on the deck, loading a jet with the Terrigen crystals. Daisy tries to talk Jiang down, and Jiang, though, she's not going to listen to her, obviously. She's at the point where she's just like, fuck you, I don't care what you say. Jiang insists that the war started when S.H.I.E.L.D. was found to protect the world from people like them. And Daisy says that Jiang is just full of hate, and which is true. And Jiang begins sucking the life force from Daisy. And for a second, I thought it really was going to happen. I mean, this really was Daisy's season. If you think about it, season was all about Daisy. At least the second half, at least, was all about Daisy. And Daisy musters up enough strength to use her powers to knock the Quinjet with the crystals in the sea and killed. And basically, Lincoln takes out the Prime, multiplying Inhumans to knock out all the copies. Fitz, Mack, and Coulson struggle with Gordon until Gordon teleports behind Fitz and is impaled, and Gordon's dead, which I was very happy about. I'm like, thank God Gordon's dead, because obviously Gordon was not going to let them do anything, and he was working with Jiang, and he didn't know about any of the terrible stuff that Jiang was doing, and Lincoln did believe Daisy, so that was good. So, basically, Coulson dives and catches it, and the crystal begins calcifying Coulson, and I thought that Coulson was legitimately going to die here, but luckily Max used his axe to chop Coulson's hand off, and he lost his hand, but luckily he was saved. He's still alive, and that's good. I was so shocked that Mack actually chopped his hand off, though. I was like, oh my god, that's insane. But, I mean, I guess, in order to stop Jiang, you have to do that. So, Jiang resumes absorbing Daisy's life force. Cal shows up, crushes Jiang in his embrace, and basically breaks her neck and kills her. Which, you can see how hard that was for Cal to do, but he knows he had to do this, and I love seeing that. I thought that was an amazing scene, and honestly, the perfect way to end that story. And I thought that was perfect. I was very happy she died. I honestly thought that she was going to live, but the second that Lincoln died, I'm like, there's no way she's living. The second that happened, I knew there was no way she was going to live. So, sometime later, Andrew's speaking with Coulson, and Andrew asks about Coulson's armor. Coulson wants to hear Andrew's evaluation of his team, and basically they talk about, his team and everything. And I thought that was really interesting when they were talking about, his team, because basically he says that he has new recommendations for the new program, and Coulson says that he's slowly bringing other people in, and he has Fitz working on the designs for their new mobile plan. Now, when he says he's bringing other people in, I'm pretty sure he's talking about the Inhumans. I think he's going to bring some of them with him. Lincoln, I definitely think is going to ally with them. Definitely Lincoln. I mean, Lincoln's still there. I don't know what's happening with Aisha. I think she's pretty much on her own now. I don't really know what's happening with her. There's also Deathlock. We don't know what's happening with Deathlock. I mean, there's still Inhumans out there that we don't know what's happening with them. So I kind of like that we don't know what's happening because it's up in the air at this point. So, And it honestly is their choice what they want to do here. So Andrew tells Coulson that Daisy's ready for anything, and as S.H.I.E.L.D. agents escort Cal away, he tells Daisy that it's for the two of them. Also, Melinda's leaving. Melinda packs her clothing, starts to leave, goes back, takes her gun with her. She's now leaving S.H.I.E.L.D., and honestly, I think it's the best thing for her to do. I mean, think of all the stuff she's been through. Think of what's happened to, think of what's happened to her. Her getting those memories back of what she had to do to that girl. I think that really is what's making her think that she has to leave, honestly. I think that really made her think that, and now that Jiang's gone, I think she honestly can move on with her life, and I'm happy that she has made that choice, because honestly, you can't be with S.H.I.E.L.D. forever. While S.H.I.E.L.D. is good, you can't be with them forever, and I like that she is trying to find a way outside of S.H.I.E.L.D. So, S.H.I.E.L.D. agent escort Cal away. Probably the most heartbreaking scene of the episode, I have to say. This was extremely heartbreaking. He tells Daisy that it's for the two of them now. He tells her that that she's better than he imagined. He imagined her perfect. Cal asks if Daisy will come visit him once in a while. Daisy promises she will, and she hugs her father, and they both cry, and basically he's going to have his memory wiped, so he doesn't remember her, and it's really sad, but I thought that was, honestly, it's what they have to do. I mean, he wants to connect with her, but they're never going to have that connection, and rather than him just suffer, she wants him to be able to have his own life, so basically he's going to have to move on without her, which was really sad, but I understand why that had to happen. So Grant goes to the bar, looks at photos of Kara as he drinks, and 4 Hydra agents come in and give Grant a list of the surviving Hydra members, but admit the organization is almost entirely gone, and Grant demands more names. The head mercenary warns that there's no leadership, and when the mercenary gets in his face, Grant breaks his glass, slams the man's face down on the glass, and when tells the others that he wants a team around him, the other agents ask what he wants, and Grant tells him that he wants closure, he's gonna get his revenge on S.H.I.E.L.D., and now we have our villain for next season. Grant is officially the villain of this show, and I love it, honestly. I love that Grant is the villain. He is perfect. He is perfect as a villain. He's so menacing, and he's honestly an awesome villain. He really is awesome as a villain. So I can't wait to see how that turns out next season. So we get this heartbreaking scene between Cal and Daisy, and basically, thanks to the amnesia wipe, Cal has no idea who she is when he next sees her. She says that her name is Daisy. Cal says it's a lovely name. Daisy goes back to the waiting Coulson and thanks him, and figures that Cal can now do something great with his life, besides, worry about Daisy. Honestly, it probably was the best thing to do, because we're never going to see Cal again. I'm pretty sure we're never going to see him again, because that just shows me that we're never going to see him again, which was good, because I think we got enough with his character, we had enough with that storyline, so I like that we're not really going to see him again, but I thought it was very well done what they did there. I thought that was really good. So Coulson gives her Andrew's recommendation, says that Daisy's the only one on the list for a team with powers. Daisy says that people like her need to be kept a secret, and I love what she says. She doesn't want to be like the Avengers. She wants the Inhumans to be secret, and Coulson assures her that they'll be anonymous, that he won't say, who has the powers, and I think that's really good. So they get into his car, and Coulson says that they have to do it because he'll never forget the consequences of what they've set in motion. And at the bottom of the ocean, the Terrigen crystals shatter, leak into the surrounding water and the fish, and basically we see that these Terrigen crystals are still out there, which I think is really interesting. So basically, in the meantime, Mack was saying that he can't, that he can't look over the kree stone. But of course, Mack says they're never going to open the case. But of course, Jemma being Jemma decides to do that. So at the playground, we get the final scene of the episode, which I don't know where this is going, but Fitz tries to invite Jemma to dinner on a date. She finally realizes what he means. Fitz leaves. She doesn't really want to be with him at this point. Once she's alone, she checks the case with a kree stone, bursts open, pulls her in, resolidifies, and Jemma's dead, I'm assuming. I don't know what happened to Jemma, but what the fuck? Like, is she dead? Is she in an afterlife? Is she gonna be an Inhuman now? Some people suspected that she's gonna be an Inhuman now, which I could definitely see happening. Maybe that is what happens, is that it makes you an Inhuman, but I really don't know. I guess we'll have to see what happens. I mean, Mack's gonna be the first person to find out, because obviously Mack said no one opened the kree stone, and he's gonna see that Gemma's gone. So obviously, I don't really know what's gonna happen there. And also, every writer of the show is being very hush-hush about what's happening. So I definitely feel like what's gonna happen with Jemma is gonna be very surprising, and I want it to be surprising. Honestly, this was the perfect finale. It perfectly closed out the storylines. There's a lot to talk about, though. First of all, what's gonna happen with Jemma? As I said, I don't really know. So that's out of the way. Let's talk about Daisy's whole storyline, or I guess I'm going to call her Skye now, because that whole part of her life with her being Daisy is over. Skye's storyline, with, basically Skye's new journey with, the Inhumans. Is she going to get Lincoln to work with him? I feel like it definitely is a possibility. Lincoln, I think, is the one. I think Lincoln would work with him. I really do. I hope Grant doesn't try to entice him and get him on his team, which Grant could find a way because he's very good with, speaking, and he's a very good speaker. But I think that I think that Lincoln, when it comes to push or shove, he would go on Skye's side, definitely. I saw chemistry between them this season. I definitely feel like they're going to get together, so I guess we'll have to see what happens there. But yeah, I definitely see it happening. Cal, I think, is gone from the show. I don't think he's coming back. Someone did bring up a good point about Coulson's arm being gone. If you remember in Avengers Age of Ultron, there is that woman, I don't remember her, Maria Hall, I think it is. She can basically bring back, she can basically get him a new arm. And if she can create, the Hulkbuster suit, she can pretty much get him a new arm. And I'm pretty sure that can happen. So, we'll see. I guess we'll have to see what happens there. I think that he's going to go to her. And I'm pretty sure the next season they're going to focus a lot more on what's going on, pumping us for Avengers Infinity War, because let's face it, that's what we're all thinking about, and I definitely feel like it's going to happen. Let's talk about Grant and Hydra. Who is Grant getting on his side? I'm not really sure. I guess we'll have to see what happens next season, but that's going to be very interesting as well. Melinda leaving, I think, is the right thing to do. I definitely feel like Melinda and Andrew, they're going to be together now because she's wanted to be with him all this time. She should get to be with him. Honestly, they deserve to be together. They really do. After all they've been through, I'd like for them to be together. They really do deserve it, and I'm happy that she wants to just have this quiet life with Andrew. They really do deserve that. So I think that's really good overall. So... And then I guess as far as Bobbi and Lance go on, now, of course, they're gone right now, but they're definitely coming back next season. How they're going to come back, I definitely feel like Coulson's going to say that, hey, I need you to come back. They're going to basically be nowhere, but he's going to get them back, and I definitely feel like that's what's going to happen next season. Overall, guys, what did I think of this season? This season was amazing. I am so happy I didn't watch the first season because everyone said that this season just felt like a completely different show, and I think the thing that made the show so much better is the Inhumans. I mean, while this had Avengers Age of Ultron stuff in there, they already are 10 steps ahead of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I love that, and it's definitely giving us a taste of what Phase 3 is going to be, which I think is going to be a lot darker and a lot more intimate than what we're used to, and I love the story, just the story of Daisy and everything that got so interesting, Cal's story, Giant, that whole family, the Inhumans in general, they all were so interesting. I love finding out more and more about them. They were all great. But that's basically this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. I cannot wait for Season 3. It's going to be so amazing. I can't wait to see what happens. But that's my review. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you guys thought of this finale. I am sorry this review was so long. It could have been 50 minutes had I used this much more elaborate recap that I did not use because the video would be like an hour, which I'm not going to do. I know this review is very long, but that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in my next video, which, guys, I know I said that I wait till Friday, but I don't have time to watch Finding Carter, so instead I'm going to watch Girl Meets World. I will review the first 2 episodes of the season for you guys, so definitely look forward to that. Okay, bye.